Is that Burning Abyss actually topping a regional? What in the world? Don't be like the 30% of you that have not smashed the living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We have your breakdown here for the Guatemala regional, and yes, that is 3 Trap Tricks decks in the top cut. Now we'll be looking at the entire top 16 over the course of this video, so do kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at this. We just have the top 8 breakdown for the top end of things here, so pretty impressive. Honestly, budget options are always going to be one of the things that are going to drive Yu-Gi-Oh players much happier here, showcasing that, hey, you know, if we can get a deck much cheaper, we can play it right out of the box with maybe a couple modifications. Really up to you what you want to include in those particular decks. I'm not surprised to see that we had this variation here for Top Cut. So very happy to see that Trap Tricks was such a push ahead here. Now we also had double Kashtira in Top Cut. I'm not surprised about that. At this point in time, Kashtira has been the more dominant deck in the room across the board, and we are still showcasing that there is value to be had here with this. So very happy to still see that. We also had one Mathmech player. Let's be honest here, it's just not a top 8 unless you've seen Mathmech do its thing here. Mathmech has been such a strong deck in the current format. It is by far one of the strongest decks in the room right now, and I think that really says something. We also had Sprite in Top Cut, so depending on the variation that we see here, your card choices, I'm not surprised about that. And then the biggest LOL is Burning Abyss. Phantom Knight, whatever shenanigans, actually coming on in here and getting a chance to sit at the dinner table. Didn't think I would see that anytime soon, but I'm still impressed nonetheless. All right, we're going to pass on over to the giant heap of top 16 for you guys. Winning your event here is none other than cash money, dollar bills, double thrust in the main deck. We're playing double evenly. I'm not surprised to see any of those ratios that we're seeing here. This deck always feels very, very standard. The Garuda has definitely become one of the more accessible points. I mean, free detach, free draw fodder. Why worry about that? Who needs to stick a Goliath under it when you can just get free Garuda value every single turn? So not too bad in terms of winning your event here. Second place here is, oh boy, Sprite, featuring Tetsu Erat Newman in the main deck. If you haven't been paying attention as late, Tetsu Erat's been gaining a lot more popularity in these decks. Definitely former side deck card, actually stepping on up to become a metagame shift. Actually, is kind of cool. The rest of this deck, I mean, one Volcanic Shell for time, Reaper Dacus. You're all very familiar with a lot of these particulars that we've been seeing for quite some time here. Third place here is Trap Tricks, sporting off Mind Control and Change a Heart. Take your opponent's Arise Heart, proceed to laugh all the way to the bank. I actually love that. A lot of interesting little inclusions in this deck for the metagame. I am liking what we are seeing here, but honestly, it all perfectly makes sense for what you want to see out here. So Trap Tricks still doing very Trap Tricksy things. I also like the fact that this build is main decking Nibiru. Okay. Next up here is our 4th place Trap Tricks list. Holy, okay, so they're both up here. We had double or triple parallel XC in the main deck. Okay, we're focusing on evenly matches in this build, and we're also main decking a Change of Heart to take whatever the opponent might set up as a monster, and we are side decking. That is double wiretap down there. I have not seen wiretap actually show up at all in quite some time, so that's actually hilarious that we're having value down there for that. 5th place, here's another Trap Tricks variant. Holy moly. This build is sporting off triple evenly matched as per the rest of the builds. This build is opting to side the Change of Heart and the Mind Control, so you are going to see those differences here between the inclusion of, do I want to main deck this, do I want to side this, is this going to generate value based on the position of the main or the side? It depends on what you want to do here, but all 3 of these variants are showcasing much different ideas here for things that you might not really consider. Next up here is another Kashtira deck. So we're main decking double towns. We're playing 1 thrust. We're main decking double evenly, so we can go ahead and toggle on in to the power cards here. Very standard stuff, honestly. We're playing double Big Eye. We're also playing Goliath, and we're playing an Anintis in the extra deck as well. That's kind of an interesting little choice. We're side decking the Lava Golems, and we are playing the 1-tier elements Kashtira monster. Okay, I don't see anything wrong with this. Our 7th place Phantom Knight Burning Abyss pile, of course, we're main decking evenly matched. If you want to know how a deck like this can be successful, it's probably because sometimes evenly matched comes up and you just destroy the opponent's day with it. Especially at a regional like this, I'm not surprised to see that this actually worked. And a lot of people have forgotten what Phantom Knights can actually do. You can set up a full competent field, go ahead and break through the opponent, and the opponent's going to be like, well, what am I supposed to do about this? Sometimes the answer is nothing. Next up here we had MathMech. MathMech making it in barely 8th place here. Still playing the Small World package. I mean, every MathMech list I've seen has been dedicated to Small World, Small World, free Bridge the Gap, Archfiend Eccentric to do the job. We're playing 1 equation, 1 super factorial. Everything that you're used to seeing in your MathMech variants all kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow here for you for this deck. So very happy to still see the MathMech is maintaining its course out here. 9th place here is another Trap Tricks deck. How many Trap Tricks players were at this event? I understand like the deck is incredibly easy to play out of the box. We just main decked 2 Evenlies. We also main decked double Kaiju, which I think is fine in terms of board breaking options. If your opponent sets up any sort of threat, you should be able to play through it relatively easily. It's like your big advantage to playing Kaijus at the end of the day, and the additional support cards to do so. So very, very happy. So many Trap Tricks, man. Next up here is our Tier Elements Kashtira deck. So 10th place here, we are seeing the fact that we are playing Triff Karma in here. So you're going to be taking advantage of, your tier package, and you're going to be, toggling for what remains of the list to make these relatively old fusion monsters that kind of got cratered on a ban list. Is the deck still good? Yes. It's still, as you can see here, it did in fact function well enough to make a placement at a top cut. So very happy to see that. Next up here, our 11th place is Adventure Kashtira Runic. We actually are playing a Runic package with this deck. What? This is crazy. So what's the point? You make an Arise Heart, you lose all of your Runic cards go into the graveyard. But alright, we're sliding Vanity's Fiend down here as well. This is a pile of cards that shouldn't actually physically work, but it is. Okay. 12th place here is Sprite. So we're going back in a time machine here. I see that we are playing the Amor Factor in here. Oh, that's saucy. Okay. We're main decking 1 Thunder King Ryo. We actually see that Thunder King like as an end board piece. You should be in a pretty good position. See, we're siding Jinzo down here. Books. A lot of the same standard stuff, and of course Gamma showing up here as a power card. Gamma is an incredibly good card this format. Like, you'll just be able to steal games because of Gamma, like on the right negate. Next up here is another MathMech deck. So we are playing 1 Super Factorial, 1 Equation. Double Small World, that's kind of interesting. Triple Nibiru, double Draw for hand traps with Effect Veilers and Ashes. Okay. We're side decking Gammas, Denko Sekkas to play around background. I don't see anything else particularly too crazy about this. Avermax is going to be your boss monster. Of course, main deck and 1 talent, side and a talent. That's kind of interesting. Alright. 13th place down here is going to be Marincess. Wow! Marincess actually made it into the top cut of a regional. That's, we've seen this quite commonly. You're going to make your big aqua monster that's unaffected. We're playing 1 Battle Ocean, 2 Dive. I've noticed that Dive has been massively cut back to 2. There's no real point in dedicating anything else to the numbers. I think that's actually fine. Zealantis, and then we're playing the 1 Steel Kraken. No Kraken spawns. Just, hey, set up Gozen Match, laugh at your opponent, everything's water. Next up here is Kashtira. We are playing the Garuda. I do like the fact that Garuda has become a hilarious little card that this deck can actually take advantage of for, detached shenanigans. Triple Book, double Cosmic, double lands. We are main decking Evenlies, but we're not playing with Thrust to toggle into it, which I think is fine. You don't always have to dedicate Thrust. And then, of course, the Ogre and the Preparation sticking around as well. Okay, and our last deck list here is going to be another Cash Money Dollar Bills, a double Rise Heart. We're playing triple Lance in here, triple Book for defensive options. We're also main decking double Evenly Matched here to laugh at the opponent, citing the additional. And we are playing the Goliath and the Garuda in here as well. This feels very, very standard, quite honestly. So that is your breakdown here for the Guatemala Regional. A lot of info to unpack in one video, but what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.